Hello and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a long time. I've had a kind of a rough road here, and so I decided instead of making everybody wait, I'm going to go ahead and show you the two dolls and outfits that I have finished so far. And I will I did some fixing up of the dolls, and I'll show you that, and then I'm going to show you the outfits, and then I'm going to model them on the dolls. But I will tell you that this experience has taught me a lot. It was something that I wanted to try out to compare it to making clothes, with today's patterns and today's fashions, and it's much different than doing vintage. The vintage patterns, the vintage fashions, everything is completely different. So in the next video, I'll share some thoughts and comparisons in this video, and then I'll give my final thoughts in my next video, which will be the remainder of the dolls and outfits. So I decided to do this one first because this particular pattern, there's two outfits that I chose to do out of this pattern. So I went ahead and chose to do this one. So that's view, it's called view number 1. And it's a pleated skirt with like a V-neck shirt and a scarf. I didn't do the scarf. I didn't find it necessary, but I might do it later. And then I did view number 6, which is a circle skirt with like a turtleneck type of shirt. So this is the type of shirt that goes over the skirt, and this type of shirt will be tucked into the skirt. So I went ahead and decided to do this one first. Let me go ahead, and I'm going to start with this one, and I'll go over the outfit, and then I'll go over the doll. So let me get that ready for you. Okay, first I'm going to go ahead and show you the skirt. This is the completed skirt here. So as you can see, it's got I decided to go with the vintage pink and blue plaid fabric that I had because I really liked it. I really liked the look of the plaid in the picture that they showed that they had done it on the pattern, so I decided to go with plaid too. And it's pleated, so as you can see, there's pleats in it. And here's the band. So up here, I created the band to go around the pleats, and it's got a snap. Everything was either snaps or buttons, sometimes zippers. So here's the snap. And then here's the finish on the inside. That's the snap that's sewn on. These are vintage snaps as well. And then here's the band that I sewed. And then, I mean, the pleats are not perfect. They got a little bit messed up here. Because it's so tiny that if you even just mess up one little part of the pleat, it's going to mess up the fit. Here's the pattern piece right here. So as you can see, you fold on each line. Each line you fold to make the pleat. So you would, use this to cut the fabric, and then you would use it as a guide as to where to, clip in your pleats. And then you would go through and make each pleat, and then you'd sew it. Not sew it, iron it to help the pleat stay in. One thing about making a skirt like this is you have to do the basting. Once you put in the pleats, you need to do the basting, which is the hand sewing to make sure that everything stays in, and then you take it to your machine and you do the sewing, and then you remove your basting. So, it's a lot of work. And it's very tedious because the pleats are very small. So this is how the skirt came out with the pleats. So it's really pretty looking. I like it. And then the shirt that goes with it is a V-neck shirt. So here's the V-neck shirt. Here's the V-neck top right here. And then here's the darts. So that you put in the darts because the darts help make it fitted. Now, here's the thing about darts. If you sew, then you know that darts are kind of annoying because when you have the pattern piece, you mark the darts. You mark them And then here is where you would fold the fabric. So you would fold the fabric like this and connect those two pieces. Well, it's hard to do like this, but you would connect them, and then you would sew, and that would bring the fabric together like that to make it fitted, and you would sew up to that line right there. Well, here's the thing about darts. When you're doing like an adult shirt or dress, you sew a few stitches off, it's not gonna make a big deal. When you're doing it on a small shirt for a Barbie, you sew a few stitches off and it completely changes the fit of the shirt. So then you have to go and restart, because the darted area is so tiny that even just a few stitches will mess up the fit. So that's another very tedious part that I discovered for doing the Barbie clothes. And every outfit for Barbie, vintage outfit, has the darts, because everything is fitted. You know, it's not a t-shirt dress, it's not a sheath dress, it's not an A-line. Everything is fitted and tailored, you know, in the 60s style clothing. It's very formal looking. So that is something that they put in, is darts in everything. So that was another tedious part of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and have her model the shirt with the skirt. Oh, let me show you the back. So in the back, here's the back of it. And then again, I went ahead and did buttons. So here's one button. And then here's you have to take these out, you gotta make sure you do like that, so you don't, if you pull too hard, they'll come unsewn. So you have to kind of pull them apart with your nail in the middle. So here's what the inside looks like. You can see the dart sewing here. Here's one dart, and then here's the other dart to make it the fitted shirt. So I'll go ahead and get her dressed in the outfit, and she can model it for you, and then I'll tell you what I did to fix her up too. Okay, here's how she looks in her outfit. So she has on her pink V-neck shirt, and it's hanging over the pleated plaid skirt. And I decided, I washed her hair, and her hair turned out really great when I washed it. It became very shiny, kind of silky. So I decided just to give her a very light curl flip at the ends. I don't know I think someone may have cut her hair, because it's kind of like weirdly layered in the back, and I'll show you, but I just want you to get a good look at how she looks standing there with the outfit on. I think it looks really good on her. You know, I really see it. I mean, I really see it as, you know, from the 60s, maybe something that a college student would wear to classes or something. That's what it reminds me of. You know, so I think it just looks really good. Let me bring her closer. I also want to show you that I found some pink flats. She is kind of flat-footed. Her foot tilts up just a little bit. So I found these pink flats to go with it. And then here's the pleats. And then here she is in the shirt. So her hair turned out nice and silky and soft. It does have a kind of a weird part up there, but I just did a little basic flip. And here it is in the back. It looks like maybe someone cut it. It's got some short layers here, if you can see that. Some short layers, and then it's got these long pieces in the front. Like in the front, the pieces are really long, and then they're much shorter in the back here, and they go all the way up to like here. It's just weird. It's like it's cut like that from the back to the front. I don't know. It's interesting. I think maybe someone gave her a haircut. But here's kind of how she doesn't seem to have much of a part, and that's kind of how it turned out. But I think it turned out really good. Now, she was one of the filthiest. She had really bad legs. Let's see. So they're still kind of dirty, but I got a lot of the dirt off, and I'll insert some of the other video that when I first got her, I showed her, and you can kind of see her before and what she looked like. But her makeup is nice and subtle, so I didn't really touch up her makeup. I liked the way her lip color is. I didn't want to put anything darker on there, so I left a lot of her makeup the way it was. I thought it looked okay. But I did spend a long time scrubbing those legs and arms because she was the filthiest out of all of them. And she's quite sticky. So she's gonna, I feel like if I handle her too much, she's gonna get dirty again. She's just, I don't know, she just feels really sticky, especially her legs, so. But that's how she turned out. And I think the outfit turned out really good. So, it's a little bit, looks like past her knee, so it's a nice conservative length, as you can see. There. And the shirt. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other doll ready. And we'll take a look at that outfit. Let me just put her back here. Okay, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so now I'm back with my next Barbie. And like I said, I did the circle skirt and shirt down at the bottom. So first I'll show you the skirt. This is the skirt that I did. And as you can see, it turned out to be a circle skirt. I like this fabric. This is a very popular pattern. I have this pattern in different colors. Also in a pastel pink and in a pastel blue. And it has kind of fond memories for me because when my mom was in college in the early 70s, and the sheet set that she took to college with her was this same pattern, but it was in a pastel pink. And so, you know, after she got married, she kept the sheet set. So when I was born in 78, because that tells you how old I am, she would put these sheets on my bed as a little girl. So I am very familiar with this pattern, and I do have fond memories of, you know, growing up with these sheets, but in a different color, but in this same style. So I see this fabric a lot from the 60s and 70s. So I decided to go with this. Now it makes a circle, and then you have the snap right here. And you just kind of unsnap it like that. And it has this waistband here. And then this is the other side. So here's the back where it's finished. And then when you put it together, it's a complete circle. Now this one is this type of skirt. It's a little bit harder because again, when you cut it out, this is a very small hole area that you would cut out. And then the waistband is actually bigger. So what you have to do is you have to kind of like, you're going to be sewing it to the fabric. So this 1/4 inch right here of the fabric, you've got to make little cuts in it so that when it'll spread out and it'll be wider, then you can go ahead and baste on. It's easier if you baste on the waistband, you know, hand sew it on there. But first you would machine sew probably around here and then do the little cuts, but don't do it any lower than where you did the machine sewing. And then hand sew this on with the basting, and then go back and sew it with your machine, and then remove the basting. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to do a circle skirt. Let me kind of show you in the instructions. So when you cut it out, it's going to be like this, the fabric. And then you have this extra section here. So you have this tiny little area right there. And then you have to first take it to the machine and sew it like this. And then you would make tiny cuts in this area that you sewed so that you could take this waistband and hand stitch it onto here so this would stretch out more. And then go back in and do it with the machine. So it's, you know, tedious work. And circle skirts just aren't something. Here's kind of how you do it. So when you put the waistband on, you have to be careful that you don't end up doing a bunch of puckering, because if you don't make enough little slits, then this is all going to just pucker. And a puckering is like a fold, like a pinch that causes a fold. See, you can see right here they went in and made a bunch of cuts, and then they pasted the waistband on over the cuts, and then it turns out like this once you go in and sew it. But I mean, people don't really wear circle skirts anymore. Maybe ice skaters do, I think. Maybe, I don't know. So you don't really make them anymore, but they are not easy to make. They're tough and tedious too. So this is how it turned out. I might put another snap here, but it doesn't say to, and it seems to have turned out okay. But I'll show you what it's like when it gets on. And then the shirt that came with it that you make it kind of like a turtleneck. So here's the shirt that I made. So it's very fitted, as you can see. It has some darts here. Again, tedious darts. And then that brings it in to make it fitted around the bottom. And then up here, you would have similar to a waistband, but it's a neckband. And I did end up getting a pucker. See, this is a pucker right here. When you sew it, that happens if you don't get all the stitches perfect. So that pucker ended up, but I mean, it's okay. It's not, this isn't because I want to be a fashion designer or anything. So, well, there's this snap here in the back, this top snap here, and there's another snap back here with my vintage snaps. That's why some of the snaps are big, because I didn't have a lot of small vintage snaps. So some of them are a little bit bigger than what you would normally use, but it's okay. Here's the finished darts back here. And then the finished edges around the bottom. And then here's the finished neckline with the neckband up around here. And then you have the finished part down here. So that's how that turned out. I think it turned out pretty cute. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the outfit on so that this Barbie over here can model it for us, and then I'll tell you what I did to fix her up. Okay, so here she is wearing the outfit. So she's got on the circle skirt, and I like, you know, kind of how it hangs, because it really has volume without having to have like a crinoline underneath it because of the way it was sewn. So I really like that. And then, you know, the shirt is nicely fitted, so it looks really good on her. And she was the doll that the head came on a skipper body. So someone suggested to me to switch her head to the headless midge body that I had, so that's what I did. So that's the one that I did that to. And her hair was very thin. She had the thinnest hair out of all the dolls that I had gotten. And so I have a little video of it to show you, but I did kind of my version of pin curls so that I could get volume, and then I, you know, just kind of flipped it up at the bottom. So it looks much better. You can't even tell that it was thin hair. But these are the vintage bobby pins that I used, and I also have a pack of these in silver and a pack in gold. So like I said, I did everything vintage except for the sew machine. My sew machine is not vintage, but everything else I used is vintage, including these bobby pins that I used to do the pin curls. So I will include at the end of showing her a snippet of what she looked like with the pin curls on, because she did look kind of crazy. But let me bring her closer. Okay, so here's how her hair turned out. It looks a lot thicker now that I did the curls. I just kind of wanted to give her just a flip, but like a more curly flip at the bottom. And I like her subtle makeup, so I didn't, you know, brighten her lips or anything, because she just has that subtle lipstick. But when she has the shirt on, the pucker, you can't see it as bad. So, I mean, it looks okay. It kind of flattens it out a little bit. And then here's how the shirt looks when she's wearing it. Very fitted, and then it tucks into the skirt, and there's the skirt with the waistband. So I'll take her off so you can kind of see how it does and the flares out in the back. So in the back, it's like, it looks like this. So I don't know, I might put another closure, snap closure there, but that might weight it down, so I don't know. But if you kind of play with it, you can get it to go up in other ways there. You know, it just looks cute, like she can twirl around like this. I had to borrow, you know, her body is vintage, so she has those bigger feet. She doesn't fit normal Barbie shoes. The most vintage Barbie shoes I have is from the 1980s. She doesn't fit them. Her feet are too big. So I had to go to my niece's house and dig through her doll shoes. I'm not sure what doll these came from, but they're not Barbie shoes because these are way too big for a modern Barbie. So I'm not sure what Barbie they came from, but they were the only shoes that fit her. So, or which doll they came from. But, I mean, they look okay. They're Mary Jane's, and, you know, Mary Jane's were worn in the 40s and in the 60s. And they're kind of like 70s platform. Also like a 1990 Clueless, so I don't know. But, so this is how she turned out. Very cute. So my thoughts on doing this experiment, and I'm going to continue because I have 3 more dolls to do, but it's going to take me a little bit longer because it really is a lot of work. More than I realized, because it's way different than sewing modern clothes. Here's what you notice about modern Barbie clothes. When you go to buy Barbie clothes, you're going to see a lot of t-shirt dresses. You're going to see sheath style dresses, and a sheath style dress would be like kind of like a straight up and down dress with like a tank top style top part. You're also going to see A-line, you know, A-line skirts or A-line dresses. So those type of things are going to be a lot easier. T-shirt dresses, they're not typically going to have darts. Maybe a sheath dress might, but you know, A-line's not typically, and the t-shirt dress is not. So that's much easier. You're not going to find Barbie wearing a lot of pleated stuff or circle skirts. So it's much easier to sew the type of clothing that Barbie wears today. These type of outfits, Barbie dressed very fashionably. So it wasn't like picnic style wear, or it wasn't like just hanging out type clothes that they wore. Everything was fitted, and everything was like professionally tailored style clothing, and that requires a lot more work. So it's a lot different style, and I didn't realize that it was going to be so much harder. So that's something that I've learned. And using the 60s, using everything vintage, like, you know, vintage fabric, and I have vintage needles that I use to sew stuff with. I used vintage snaps, the vintage bobby pins for the hair. You know, everything that I needed was vintage except for the sewing machine. And that was fine. That didn't affect, you know, anything. As long as, you know, it was in good condition and it was usable. The vintage patterns, I've always been afraid of using the vintage patterns because I don't want to mess them up. But, you know, they survived. They were fine. They're still able to be used again, so I can use them again if I want. So it didn't destroy the patterns. It kept everything nice. The patterns are easy to follow. It's just they're more tedious. So with the experiment, it's fine doing everything with vintage items, but the style is what is different. and what was more tedious and what took so much work. So I'm going to continue my journey because I have a few more to do, and there are a few more different styles, and then I'm going to give my final thoughts. Now, at the end of this video, I am going to put some snippets of my other video when I first got the dolls, so you can kind of see like a before, and then these will serve as the after, and then I'll do a more comprehensive deep dive in the final video. So I'm going to create a playlist of these videos if anyone's interested. But thank you for watching this video, and I hope you like these too. I put a lot of work in them, and I do want to thank my mom because she did help me some, you know, being that I was sick and that I have also compromised eyesight sometimes, so she was very nice about helping me with some stuff when I couldn't see very well. So I do appreciate her help. She lives like a mile down the road from me, so we get together and sew and do stuff often. So I just want to thank you for your interest in this project, and I will have more results coming. And if you have any questions, just let me know and leave them down in the comments, or let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Okay, here I just want to show you that I've decided to do pin curls in most of their hair. So this is one of my Barbies that I'm almost done with, and I know it looks crazy but I decided to use these vintage bobby pins to put the curls in her hair, and then I foil set it and did the quick freeze thing. So it's been in for a couple days, so now I'm going to go ahead and take it out, and then you'll see the final product when I put it in the video. I just wanted to show you how I decided to do the hair. So there you go.